All right, so not a bad all-time kickers list, but I definitely have some disagreements. I'm going to go through my top 10, plus there'll be some honorable mentions at the end. Starting off at number 10, Matt Prater. This guy was a weapon. He has an elite leg that we're kind of used to seeing in 2025. 10 years ago, that was not the case. Matt Prater, arguably the strongest leg in NFL history. The difference between him and Justin Tucker was a little bit more automatic. Justin Tucker also kicking in a lot more hostile environments, kicking in the AFC North. That's a lot harder than kicking in Denver with Mile High, in a dome in Detroit, and then in warm Arizona, an indoor facility. The roof can come off, but it's nowhere close to AFC North football. Matt Prater, though, still gets the number 10 spot. This guy, I kind of hope comes back for 2025. He was hurt in 2024 with the Cardinals. I still think that he's a top 32 kicker in the league. Number 9, we have Robbie Gould, most notably with the Bears, obviously. Then really had a great second act to his career in San Francisco after a stint in New York with the Giants. The Niners moved on from him maybe a year or two too early. They wanted to clear some cap. They would end up drafting Jake Moody in the third round. If the Niners could do that one back, I think that they would. I think that they would probably hang on to Robbie Gould, try and come up with some agreement on a new contract, and hold off on drafting Jake Moody, who has been just a huge disappointment. Robbie Gould, definitely not the leg of Matt Prater, but well above average leg and a little bit more accurate. Also, kicked in Chicago, played in that tough environment. At number 8, we have one of the all-time leading scorers, John Kasay. This guy was awesome for the Panthers, just kicked for a very long time. We're going to try and toe the balance because similar to just like any all-time sport conversation, it was a different era. Kickers 25 years ago are a lot different than kickers today. So John Kasay, he has the longevity. He was amazing for Carolina. He comes in at the number 8 spot. All right, next up, we're going to go with another semi-throwback, not a big-time throwback, but Rob Brownus, rest in peace. Chris Sims, his former teammate in Tennessee, was actually telling a story that Jeff Fisher used to just have the team haze and harass this guy during practice, where it might have actually been easier to get into a positive mindset during a game. The kicks in the game might actually have had less pressure than at practice, the way that they were treating him. Brownus was awesome. When you look at make percentage and the leg strength, he has one of the better variables, comparison ratios, whatever you want to call it. 86%, also has a 60-yard field goal. Back when 60 yards was like not normal. Like now, if a kicker makes a 60-yarder, we're like, oh, that was awesome. When he was making a 60-yarder, that was like, get this guy 10 steroid tests right now, because that just should not be possible. Completely different time. Honestly, played a little bit ahead of his time. Rob Brownus, awesome player. At number 6, we have Stephen Gostkowski, and I think that recency bias actually plays against him. I think that we almost take for granted how great this guy was for a long time. He played at the same time as 2 other great AFC kickers in Adam Vinatieri and Justin Tucker, 2 guys that we're going to hear from later on this list. But the dude was incredible. Okay, leg strength, just as good as anybody. He could make the 55 to 59-yard kicks, no problem. Okay, consistency, no problem. Didn't really have a down year in New England. Was able to just take over for arguably the GOAT in Vinatieri and was amazing. Kicked in big games, check. Kicked in hard places to kick. Boston, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, check. Stephen Gostkowski was amazing. He fell off really quick. He's not even 40 years old yet, I believe. He had a stint in Tennessee, and that was pretty ugly. But Stephen Gostkowski, this guy was amazing. I think that we need to put a lot more respect on his career. All right, now as we enter the top 5, we're going to try and pay some respects and not go too much with recency, guys. Just because, listen, like I said, it was a different game. For instance, Jan Stenerud, one of 2 pure place kickers all time to make the Hall of Fame. It's him and Morten Andersen. He has about a 60% field goal percentage. 60%. The leg was not there. At the time, though, he was amazing, and he's a Hall of Famer. Because of that, he goes on the top 5. Once again, completely different time. So, I don't know. You could make the argument he should be higher, but also you could make the argument he shouldn't even be on the list. I think that this is a pretty good compromise. At number 4, we have Gary Anderson. Gary Anderson actually has a Hall of Fame case. The problem is he's probably identified with one of the 2 worst kicks of all time. Obviously, talking about the Minnesota NFC Championship in 1998. The only other one that I think might be just as bad, if not worse, would be the Scott Norwood kick in the early 90s, that same decade. Gary Anderson was amazing, though, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then he would go on to have a great career other places. He kicked for 21 years. Gary Anderson, awesome. This guy was legit. It's a shame that his career is mostly known for the lowest moment, arguably, of his life. I don't want to put words into the guy's mouth, but I'm sure that has to be up there. At number 3, we have Morten Andersen, the Hall of Famer, and just like the comment says, you could make the argument he should be number 1. The dude had the leg, the longevity, everything you could ask for was amazing. Him and Gary Anderson really ran the league. With that said, I just think the other 2 have him beat. At number 2 and number 1, it really just depends on what you value. And honestly, that kind of makes the argument for the number 3. If you want just the ultimate clutch kicker, you're going to go Adam Vinatieri. The longevity is ridiculous. The accuracy, had a great leg, not as elite as, say, a Matt Prater or a Justin Tucker, but Adam Vinatieri was just amazing. With that said, he also benefited from being put in a situation to succeed. For instance, people forget he missed some field goals with the Patriots in the Super Bowl. That's kind of a forgotten moment in history because he made the shorter ones later on in the game. I don't know. Adam Vinatieri should have been in the Hall of Fame. I think he should have been a first ballot, and I'm having him as my number 2, so I don't want to take anything away from him. But the number 1 guy is just ridiculous. And the number 1 guy is the guy who has completely fallen out of favor, Justin Tucker. This guy, there's no kicker in NFL history where you got to the 50-yard line, you're like, yo, we got 3 points. Okay, elite, legend, amazing. It's a shame that he doesn't seem to be a great guy off the field, because on the field, we probably will never see something like it. This guy was ridiculous. There might not be another athlete in sports that you were like, yeah, that's an automatic more than what Justin Tucker. Ridiculous. Justin Tucker is my GOAT. He is. Now time for some honorable mentions. And listen, we are maybe in the best era of kicking. It is ridiculous what we're able to do right now. Chris Boswell was forever living in the shadow of Justin Tucker. He's been very good for a decade in Pittsburgh. Now he's finally starting to get the recognition he deserves. Made his first All-Pro team. This guy has a great leg, is capable of hitting a 59-yarder. Not a Justin Tucker leg. Let's get that clear. With that said, though, he kicks in the elements. Super accurate, super clutch, has a ton of game winners. He has to rank towards the top of active game-winning kicks in the NFL. The dude has been amazing for Pittsburgh. Really, just longevity is what's holding him back. And longevity, as we know, as a kicker, Boswell's in his lower to mid-30s. He could kick for another 8 years at a high level, or he could fall off next year. Ben Saul's competing for him. With longevity, Harrison Butker also has the chance to go down as one of the all-time greats, has a chance to be in the Hall of Fame. He already has 3 Super Bowl rings, has that elite leg capable of making a 60-plus yarder at all time. He's in big situations. He kicks in the elements. Harrison Butker, amazing, just like Boswell. How long can he continue to kick at a super high level? That's really going to depend. You can make the argument both of those guys should already be on this list. Something tells me that when their career ends, especially Butker, he's going to wind up on it. It feels wrong to even make him an honorable mention after just kicking for 2 years, but Brandon Aubrey's on a historical rate. We all know, obviously, the long kicks, but then how frequently this guy is kicking. This guy's making 38 field goals per year. That's a ridiculous number. He is already in his 30s due to the soccer career first, but Brandon Aubrey, for sure it could be on this list when it's all said and done. Only 2 years in, though. All right, so those are some young honorable mentions. Now for some old Matt Bryant, Falcons legend. Phil Dawson, Browns legend, one of the best Browns of all time. Mason Crosby, recently retired. Jason Elam, longtime Bronco. Jason Hanson, I really wanted this guy to get on the list. Matt Stover, yes, the Ravens were that good at kicking in their short time. Nick Lowry, I gotta love that pitcher. John Carney, Olindo Mayer. Ryan Lindell. David Akers, this one's more for fun. And then Packers legend Ryan Longwell.